Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. It is once again time for the Backstage Slam. This is episode number 206, and we have got quite the show for you tonight because it is a big wrestling weekend. 3 big things going on over the course of 2 days, and okay, maybe 2.5. But joining me here, well, by the way, I'm Josh. Joining me here tonight is none other than the Con Queen herself, Anna.
Hey, Josh.
What is up, amiga?
Not a whole lot. Just back from Georgia and Kentucky and enjoying the beginning of my 2-week quarantine because my governor sucks.
If you only knew what it was like to have a crappy governor.
Mine doesn't think chicken wings are food.
Well, they're certainly edible.
That's what I thought. I totally make a meal out of them, as do most other people, but they don't qualify as food in his eyes.
You know, I look at your governor like a lot of people look at Justin Trudeau. Yeah, some Canadians may not like Trudeau, but I'm like, it could be worse. So, you know, we're not. This isn't a political podcast, so we're not going to go there. Where we will go is down to Orlando for NXT Takeover 30 and tomorrow's SummerSlam event. It looks like it's going to be a pretty solid weekend. Although tonight they did air Dynamite because of, well, surprise, sports preempted Dynamite until tonight. So Dynamite and NXT once again went head-to-head pretty much for the night. But we are not going to be talking about AEW's Dynamite because I didn't watch it. I barely had a chance to watch NXT TakeOver. All of you long-term Simicor Studios listeners will know who Kevin is. Kevin popped by today. We were playing the I don't know what it's. Maybe it's a demo, maybe trial version, whatever you want to call it. We were playing OG Tony Hawk before the big release. Not too long from now. Actually, it's not too far off in the future. So we were getting our old pro noobs on playing some video games, and I had to, essentially do what I could to catch up with NXT TakeOver. That's why we're running a little behind schedule tonight. And you also might want to know about what's going on with our other fearless compatriot, Mr. Ben. Last week I mentioned that his dad was in the hospital, and he's still there. Hopefully, hoping to be released soon. And once again, if you're out there, if you're religious, spiritual, or whatever you are, just send thoughts, send prayers, send positive vibe, energy, whatever you want to do. Send a tweet to @YoBroMMO. Let him know that he and his dad are in your thoughts and hoping for a swift and complete recovery. But as much as I would love to just continue sending Ben all the love there is, we have a show to do. Isn't that right, Anna?
It is.
So here we are. It is late on a Saturday night. Normal people are probably doing normal people stuff. And here we are. We're getting ready to talk about wrestling. And I figured we'd do it like this. We'll talk about what we saw on NXT TakeOver. A little too late for predictions, to be honest. So we are just going to go ahead and talk about what we saw for NXT TakeOver. Maybe not necessarily a full review, but run down the matches, say whether or not we thought it was cool. And then we'll get to our SummerSlam predictions, our picks, and I already have Ben's picks. He sent me those yesterday, and if I'm not mistaken, he actually did send me. He sent me his Takeover picks too. So while we're covering Takeover, I am going to not so quietly judge him for the predictions he made. He should realize that's what happens. That's the price.
It is.
I could quietly judge him, but it's an
Where's
audio
the fun in that?
podcast. How would I get away with that? Our listeners would not forgive me. Speaking of which, if you are joining us here tonight via Facebook Live, say something in the comments section. Let us know what's going on in your brain. Hey, there it is. I just had to make sure everything was pulled up. Okay, NXT Takeover 30. Here we are. I did not catch the pre-show match. I started as soon as the show proper came on. But from these notes, it was Breezango versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch and Legado del Fantasma. It was a triple threat tag team to determine the number one contenders for the NXT Championship. So,
I didn't catch that either. I didn't realize that there was a pre-show match.
Okay. Well,
it was only a 30-minute pre-show. I didn't think there'd be a match.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. Breezango won and became the NXT Tag Team Championship number one contenders in a match that went just under 7 minutes at 6:52. I see this as a good spot for Breezango. They get room to breathe as a tag team, and they're in. Okay, I almost said in a company. They're still in WWE, but in NXT they get. It's so night and day when it comes to certain things like tag teams. They'll get a chance to breathe. They'll get a chance to be cool. So, good for Breezango. I look forward to them going after those tag team championships in the future. What do you think? Breezango, good choice out of the three teams mentioned?
I think they were a good choice. When I realized that there was a match I had missed, I looked it up, and I was quite pleased that they had won.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be, and they're so good. They're so good. They very underestimated Fandango and Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze was, the Prince of Pretty in NXT. He was doing a great job as a singles guy, and like a lot of NXT guys, when he got to the main roster, it didn't translate. For some reason, it just didn't translate. People are very good at pointing fingers, no matter who is actually responsible. I'm one of those guys that believes everybody's at least a little responsible. Some more than others when it comes to success or failure. After all, there is a pretty good string of popular NXT stars that didn't quite catch on in the main roster. So, all of that is really beside the point. He's found a nice place with Fandango as Breezango, and I hope they have continued success as a tag team.
As do I. They're quite hilarious too.
Yeah.
They're quite hilarious too on the other shows I've caught them on the network. And I'm just like, I kind of wish they'd stayed on the main roster, but they're just as good on NXT, if not better.
Yeah, they actually get to showcase their talent in the ring on NXT, which is a great thing, even though when it comes to vignettes and just backstage segments, they're also absolutely brilliant there, especially with the Fashion Police segments from back in the day. Back in the day, like it was years ago. No.
Those are hilarious. I'm sorry. I
No,
can't
no
help it.
need to apologize. They were absolutely wonderful.
They just play so well off of each other.
Yeah, it's like they've been doing this. It's like they were made to do this with each other. Next up, the show proper starts, and we have Finn Balor taking on Timothy Thatcher in just a singles match. It's not unusual for just a singles match, with no titles on the line to be on a takeover card. It is, I don't know, it does seem weird, though, these days when you don't see one of the NXT titles being defended. That's neither here nor there. What'd you think of the match, Finn Balor and Timothy Thatcher?
I think it took too long and got repetitive, and Finn Balor has such a great ring presence with what he can do. He didn't really get to showcase any of it.
That's a good point.
It's like, okay, this guy's the other guy. Okay, he's a great grappler. He's a great submission. What are they called?
He's a submission specialist.
Thank you. I had the ist right. That's fine, but it's like it was all centered on him. Finn countered well. I've never seen him use to do that much submission in one match. He does them, just not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like waiting for Finn to bust out Finn, and he just didn't get a chance to.
Yeah.
I'm happy he won. I'm glad he won. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they told a pretty good story with Timothy Thatcher here. They took out Finn Balor's legs, his most useful tool in a wrestling match, and it sort of created that idea that there's a chance that Finn Balor could lose unless he thought of something else. Which, of course, he did. As you said, Finn Balor won in a match that went 13 and a half. It's really weird that I didn't think I'd say this. And I don't think I said it when I was looking at this card last week on episode 205. But this quietly became a match of the night candidate. Not that... I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good card, but it's a good story card, right?
Yeah.
You got great characters going at each other, championships on the line. No championship here, so I gotta say, no real great story here other than what was told in the ring by two competitors. So
yeah. I'm not... Is there a rivalry, or is it just a match?
It's just a match.
Oh, so it was basically like a filler, for lack of a better word.
I gotta be honest, I've been less than adamant in keeping up with anything coming from WWE in recent weeks. I did catch NXT this past week, the go-home show for this show. But honestly, I don't recall.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything about it either, and I'm just like, this is a weird match, but okay.
If I'm not mistaken, Timothy Thatcher was one of the people eligible for the North American Championship ladder match, but got beat.
Ah,
so
gotcha.
Maybe because Finn and Timothy were the kind of out of that scenario, they did it here, which is fine. It's fine. But we're going to move on to the ladder match, where Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano, and Velveteen Dream went at it. Real quick, any highlights from this match for you?
Which one?
The ladder match?
Oh, well, other than the fact that it was freaking awesome. Like, I didn't know Velveteen Dream was back, and that made me super happy. Because
any spots that stick out to you?
Oh God! Other than the fact that I was screaming at my TV that crap, I can't think of his name. The one who won.
Damian Priest.
Yes, the big pretty dude.
Pretty. Wow. I don't think
he's very pretty. He's actually a very pretty man. I'm not sure if you'd take that as a compliment, but it's very much a compliment.
Ben,
I was basically...
If you're listening, Ben, Anna just called Punishment Martinez pretty.
Who? What?
It's, before he was in NXT, he was in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
So they changed his name, and
well, this one's better than that one. But anyways, I was screaming at him to not let go of that belt because I didn't want the other person to have it.
Yeah, you're like, Damian Priest is pretty. Johnny Gargano's a slime ball.
Oh my God, do you know how mad I was that she got involved again?
It's what a good missus does.
Sure. And we see how well that ended for her as she's tossed off the top of a ladder on the back of, the big cool dude. Reed. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that was
there's a few people in there that I'm not familiar with, but I liked him. Like, yeah. That was an amazing move, and it's like, oh my God, he don't care that that's a chick on his back. Holy shit, he's gonna... Ow! There was so many ow moments in that match. I'm just like, oh, those poor people.
Yeah, Johnny Gargano doing the sunset to Cameron Grimes. Keep wanting to say his other from other places.
I would have been okay with, well, really anyone other than Gargano winning it, but my top two is the one who won and Cameron Grimes, because he's just, I don't know, kind of cool to me.
Yeah,
and then after
up, Trevor Lee, when the show's over, you'll like it more of him.
And I mean, the big dude could have won, and I would have been super happy because, again, that was super freaking cool what he did.
Did I say Trevor Reed? I wanted to say Trevor Lee, just make sure that I got that right. Got Bronson Reed on the brain. But Damian Priest did go on to climb the ladder and take the title down at 21 minutes, 24 seconds, and is the new NXT North American Champion. So congratulations to him. Oh, you know what? I didn't update the... There we go. For those of you just joining in on Facebook, that is what we are talking about. NXT 30, NXT Takeover 30. Now that the image is updated on... yeah, we have graphics now. We're cool. So, following that was Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee.
That dude earned some mad friggin' respect from both me and Scott. He's had, a couple of weeks of training, and wow. I would have been happier if he'd won, but he needs to join the roster because dude's got mad skills.
Yeah, nah.
Oh, come on! This is a feud I would actually enjoy. If it means that Adam Cole is going to continue getting the snot beat out of him for a while, absolutely.
Yeah, I felt bad every time Adam Cole had to sell something for him.
Why?
Because Adam Cole is the longest reigning NXT champion in history. One of the greatest wrestlers in the world. I give him a top 5 spot of currently going, maybe top 10. But definitely right there in the middle of the pack. And he had to do work for the punter.
Did you see what he did in the ring tonight? Did you watch that? I watched that.
Yeah, I watched that. And, I mean,
he's doing stuff that dudes that have been doing it for a decade can't do. I've never seen anyone just jump to the top rope. I'm just like, he just did what now?
It was meh. Now, if you want to see a non-wrestler in a wrestling match that impresses, Stephen Amell, that's the guy that really went all out.
Pay me and I might watch it.
Why would I pay you to watch Stephen Amell?
Because he's a giant bag of dicks.
So why would I pay you to watch Stephen Amell?
Because I'm not going to do it for free.
Well, here's the thing. He
may have talent in the ring. It don't mean I'm going to like him.
And I'm not going to take away from what Pat McAfee put into his performance tonight. But to have him do that with someone at the top of your card it just feels weird.
I mean, it was kind of a weird thing, and I'm glad they had the vignette to, kind of show the whole, I don't know whether it's real or fake feud going on, but, like...
And you know what they didn't have to do? They didn't have to, say, I've only been doing this for a couple weeks, and I'm so awesome. It's like, why?
But the thing is, he's
you're
not wrong.
The industry that way. That's a knock against the entire industry.
In a sense, a little bit, I guess, but in another sense, that's... Okay, maybe it's stroking his own ego a little bit, but, I mean, I saw something, again, Facebook refreshed before I could click on it to read it. It was Triple H saying something about this guy and, the videos and how he was going to be on Takeover tonight. And apparently Triple H was pretty damn impressed with the work he's put in the few weeks. So, maybe, I mean, okay, so it's probably stroking his ego a whole lot, but... It's also, I've worked really hard to be able to do what you're seeing me do tonight.
Well, right now, he is signed with the WWE, from what I understand, and I just think it would have been in better taste to not go with the I'm an outsider route, that I'm not a wrestler, blah blah blah, and then put him straight to the card, straight to the top of the card as far as opponents. No, that's it's.
They've done crazier shit though when it comes to outsiders being in the ring and wrestling though.
Have they though?
Wasn't what the heck's his name? He was a champion, wasn't he? The guy who played Doofy on Scream.
No, David Arquette?
That guy.
No.
Well, he wasn't?
He was a WCW champion.
Well, yeah, okay, I said a champion.
Guess which company's in business still?
WWE.
I'm not saying David Arquette becoming the top guy for WCW put them out of business, but I'm not saying that either.
Well, I mean, they've had other outsiders come in, and it just seems out of place and weird. And haven't they had the Muppets on there before?
Who hasn't had the Muppets?
This is true. Touché.
So next up. Oh, by the way, Adam Cole won in a match that, for some reason, went 16 minutes.
Because Pat McAfee kicked some serious butt in that ring.
I can only roll my eyes so hard. He's either going to be a talent or he's going to be an outsider working his way in. It's one or the other. And if he's going to be a talent, then he's got to start at the bottom like everybody else.
Which could very well be where he ends up after this. But, I mean, this is kind of an entertaining feud because Adam Cole has that ego, and I'd kind of like to see him humbled just a little bit.
So next up, we have Io Shirai taking on Dakota Kai with the NXT Women's Championship on the line. Thoughts?
It was an interesting match, and at certain points it kind of seemed like it dragged on a little and became a teensy bit repetitive, with Dakota just repeatedly going after her arm, which, I mean, I get that's the point, but gotta mix it up just a little bit or it becomes boring. I'm super happy that despite trying to cheat, that Io Shirai got to keep her title. And can we talk about the end of the match?
Go ahead.
Rhea?
Yeah, talk about it.
Is that going to be like a new feud between her and that large woman whose name I can never remember?
That large woman.
The one that was with Dakota.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Yes, her. She is a very tall woman. Like, Rhea's tall. She's taller than Rhea. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, throw punches. And no, it didn't happen.
Her build height is 6 foot. Taller than me.
How tall's Rhea?
Let's see. I can find out real quick.
She's got to be like 5'9", 5'10" then, because the other chick's got a couple inches on her.
5'11", so
not much.
On her. So yeah, it could very well be a future program in the works. I do like it when, the handoff happens on pay-per-view events where you kind of get an idea of what's coming next. You don't have to do it for everybody every time, but especially in the late 90s, early aughts, that was always seemed to be the case. Every WWE pay-per-view ended with, okay, now this person is interfering with the championship match, so that must mean they're going to be the new number one contender going forward for the next pay-per-view. Or maybe they cost the champion the title, and the champion or the former champion is going to get their revenge on the next pay-per-view. So when I watch a pay-per-view, I do like the idea of knowing maybe not exactly what the next chapter is going to be, but getting a glance at a few of the pages doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Dakota's
Cute.
reputation for screwing over her quote-unquote allies. I mean, look what she did to... Damn it, I can't remember her name either. Her friend. Supposed friend. Ex-friend.
Me.
No, not you.
Why not me?
Well, I mean, she could have screwed you over, too. She seems to have a habit of doing that to people. But the one she attacked at, War Games in the cage.
Huh. What was that? Tegan Knox?
Yes. And actually, I must admit, I liked Io Shirai's little dig in her opening vignette there that, you know, until she attacked Tegan Knox, no one knew who Dakota Kai was.
I did.
Well, it happened before I started getting into NXT and watched the first takeover that I watched back in, like, February.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were just getting into, like, their street fights and their revenge battles and whatever. And I'm just like, I looked into it and I watched the match and I went, oh my... She's, like, legit out to hurt that girl.
Okay, we gotta move things along. Because I just realized we're 30 minutes into this episode and haven't even gotten to SummerSlam yet.
Oopsie, sorry.
So, Io Shirai defeated Dakota Kai in a match
that makes me
just north of 17 minutes. Good back and forth, like nice shenanigans. And the night concluded with Karrion Kross and Keith Lee going at it with the NXT Championship on the line. And it was the longest match of the night, clocked it at 21:51. Real quick, Anna, what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, I was holding out hope that Keith Lee was going to win, but thinking back to him just handing off that other title he had, I kind of think maybe he let it go to boost Karrion Kross. You know what I mean?
A call-up for him soon?
Yeah.
You know...
Which, quite honestly, Keith Lee could have taken Karrion Kross off the ropes at the end of the match and won. He could have won with that power bomb, but I swear to God he let go. I watched the replay too, and I'm like, he let go. Karrion Kross didn't move. He let go.
If this does mean that Keith Lee is destined to be called up to the main roster very, very soon, I will say that if I had to compare him to any WWE talent of the past 30 years, I would say that he could be the modern-day equivalent of a Mick Foley.
Oh.
And I don't mean, the hardcore Mick Foley where he absolutely destroys himself for the sake of entertaining the fans and because of the love of his fans, things like that. No, I mean that he's just a guy that, like Mick, comes off as extremely likable.
Yeah.
And
I adore Keith Lee.
That could make him a hot commodity on the main roster. Just his ability to be a guy that everybody likes.
Yeah.
And
that's not... People act like that's a bad thing sometimes. And it's like, they either like you or they hate you. But it's quite honestly much better to have people like you because you're a big, giant, cuddly teddy bear that can do amazing things in the ring. And
I can't think of any demographic that doesn't like Keith Lee.
No. The first time I saw him,
lovable teddy bear, like you said, the hardcore fans see him as a machine that can do incredible things in the ring, and the kids, see a smooth operator.
Yeah. He's a well-rounded character. I don't know if it's character, if it's real life, a combination
it's
of
natural charisma.
Yeah.
He has that it factor.
Yeah. I would love to see him become something on the main roster. Not that having 2 titles, being the first person to have 2 titles in NXT is anything to scoff at. It's not. But I'd like to see him become more.
And that's fair. And hopefully that is something we'll wind up seeing in the future. But that was NXT Takeover 30. If you are watching and if you have any thoughts, just throw them in the Facebook comment section. And for those of you that are listening, on a recorded version, whether it's Spotify or any of your podcatchers, consider this a nice incentive to join us live on Facebook. Just go to the Semicore Studios Facebook page, give it a like, and you'll be notified when we go live. And then you'll be able to get great graphics like this. The SummerSlam logo, which we're going to be talking about the card right here, making our predictions. Starting now. As soon as I click that and have the... Okay, I have the card in front of me. Apparently it's still in the same order that I read it on as last week's show. I didn't make any predictions on last week's show. I just kind of ran down what was going on. So that means I don't have to do it this week. I'll just read the matches, we'll make a prediction, and I don't know, take an extra second or two to see where we think it's going to go from here. And this is definitely not the order of the card for the show. It's just the order that I'm reading it from Wikipedia. Starting with number 1, the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. Tag Team Championship match for the Raw words. It is a match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. So, Anna, who you got?
Have Andrade and Angel Garza held the tag team belts yet?
No, I don't believe so. Still thinking?
Yes. I like the Street Profits, but if Andrade and Angel Garza haven't had belts yet, it could be a boost for them. And have them take it, even if it is just temporary.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right. Hold on. I'm being told I did not call out Ben for his predictions. So, okay, before you make your pick, I need to do that real quick. So, for TakeOver 30, Ben picked Damian Priest to win the ladder match, and he did. He picked Io Shirai to win her match, and she did. He picked Adam Cole to win his match, and he did. Now this is where it gets a little messy for him. For Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, he said no finish. Well, there was a finish, and new. He said Legado del Fantasma was going to win, but Breezango won.
I don't even know who the other teams were, to be completely honest. So,
and finally, he picked Timothy Thatcher to beat Finn Balor, and of course, that was not the case. So Ben went 50-50, 500 prediction on that.
Why would he bet against Finn Balor? That's just silly.
I'm his broadcast partner, not his mama. Why don't you ask him?
I am going to have to ask him. Come on, Finn Balor was the demon, right? You don't bet against a demon.
Well, he wasn't the Demon. He was just Finn Balor.
Still.
And we haven't seen the Demon in a very, very long time.
He was for a hot minute in the last couple of months.
Sorry, there's a lot of background stuff going on right now, and yeah. So who are you picking for the tag team match?
I'm gonna go with the Street Profits.
Okay, you're gonna go with the Street Profits. I'm also gonna go with the Street Profits. Ben is going with Andrade and Angel Garza.
Did he give reasons why?
No.
Oh.
Next up, Drew McIntyre is defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Anna, tell me why you think the Tree's going to win.
Because he's Drew McIntyre? And I'm sorry, Randy Orton just does not need to run his mouth anymore and be a 14-time champion.
Wouldn't he be a 15-time champion?
The article I read earlier said 14. Because I was trying to get caught up before tomorrow night, see what we're going on.
World titles. He's held the WWE Championship 9 times, the World Heavyweight Championship 4 times, so that's 13. He was the final holder of the World Heavyweight Championship, which he unified with the WWE Championship.
They might not have counted that technically.
Maybe not.
As a separate thing. I don't know. But I think Drew's going to hang on to the belt a little while longer. Only because, gosh darn well that Brock Lesnar's going to be coming back.
At some
And there's at some point Brock Lesnar will be back, and he's going to want a rematch.
So you think Drew's going to be holding on to it that long? Till Mania?
Well, I mean,
Rumble?
we don't know what Brock's going to be doing now that he lost his mouthpiece, but we know he's going to be coming back at some point.
What do you mean he lost his mouthpiece?
What's his name, gone?
No, Heyman still works for the company.
Oh, I thought Ben said he was gone.
He's not running things anymore. He's honored talent only, I believe.
Oh.
So basically now his only job is to...
talk.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Like, I love to hate him because he's really good at his job, but oh, God, is he annoying.
I'm also picking Drew McIntyre to win, by the way.
Thanks, Josh.
As much as it would be cool to see Randy Orton start creeping up on the greatest of all time lists as far as championship reigns, there's no reason to pull it from Drew right now.
No. And I'm not saying that just because I like Drew.
Of course you are. Ben also says that Drew McIntyre is going to win. So we're all in agreement there. Next up, Apollo Crews is taking on MVP.
He's not going to.
For the WWE United States Championship. I have that sigh because how many times are they going to book this match? And when is it actually going to take place?
That's why I said no, he's not.
Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin have been banned from ringside for this as well.
Ooh.
So you know what I think?
Lana?
I think we're going to be seeing a new member of the stable debut tomorrow night.
Oh, God. How many is he going to have?
Well, a stable is not 2 people, you got to have at least 4. So yeah, that's my prediction. I'm gonna say there's not gonna be a match because somebody's gonna come out and do dirty to Apollo Crews beforehand, and everything's gonna get thrown out. So I say no match.
Of course not, because quite honestly, when was the last time MVP actually wrestled? And hopping into a Royal Rumble and being tossed out in 3 seconds doesn't quite count.
Again, I have not been watching Raw, so I cannot tell you with any certainty. You know what? I actually can find out. Hold on. Why don't you talk to the people? Tell them about stuff.
Like, what kind of stuff?
That new Batman trailer dropped a little while ago. What'd you think about that?
I actually haven't seen that one, but while I was gone, I did get caught up on like 24 movies of the Marvel Universe, the rest of Star Wars, a bunch of Star Trek, and I did see a new trailer for a Netflix film that's going to be dropping that has Tom Holland, Sebastian Stan, the dude who plays Batman. I think it's called Evil All the Time or something like that. And it looks really good. I mean, it's weird seeing Sebastian Stan with short hair and a sheriff's cap, but dude's creepy as shit in the trailer.
All right. According to Pro-Fight Database, the Internet Wrestling Database, MVP was a part of a 6-person tag on Monday, August 13th, where he, Lashley, and Benjamin defeated Apollo Crews, Ali, and Ricochet. I do remember that. And on the 3rd of August, he took on Ariel Dominguez in Raw Underground. Also that night, weird. He took on Apollo Crews and lost. But that wasn't Raw Underground. But all of these situations seem to be places where he doesn't have to be in the ring for a very long time. So, take it for what you will. I'm going to say that it's going to be a non-match still. Ben says MVP is going to win the United States Championship, or he's going to win the match, whether it's with the championship or not. It doesn't matter as long as MVP's arm is raised afterwards. That's all he is betting on. Anna, make your pick.
If it happens, I'm gonna. Well, if it happens, I was talking to Scott about this earlier. He seems to think they might actually pass the title off to MVP. It would be kind of interesting if they did. But I'm going to go with Apollo Crews because MVP just doesn't seem active enough in the ring to be an active champion. It seems more like he's settled into the stable leader role, and he seems quite content there, only being in the ring when he has to, whereas having a title would mean he'd have to do more.
Yeah, that's why there's not going to be a match at all.
Probably not. So I said if it happens.
You pick Apollo?
I pick Apollo. If it happens.
All right. Got to take a look at the timer. Yep, closing in on an hour. Dominic Mysterio with Ray versus Seth Rollins with Murphy in a street fight. Who you got?
Woof. That's I was getting caught up on that match too, or that feudy rivalry thing with Seth and Ray, and I didn't know his son was getting into wrestling, like, full on.
Mm-hmm. Remember years ago when Ray and Eddie fought for custody over Dominic in a ladder match?
No, I do not. What?
No, it's a long story. But who do you got to win?
It depends on how far they want this this feud to go. It seems like Ray getting his eye injured twice now. Like, it seemed... I thought he retired. I don't even know why he's back.
He's not in the match.
Well, I thought he retired before the last pay-per-view, and then he was in the pay-per-view.
Things happen.
Yeah.
So
but
Dominic defending the family name against Seth Rollins, that diabolical bastard.
I mean, Seth's kind of up there on the roster, so for Dominic to win, it would kind of be like the punter beating Adam Cole, but because I mean, it's he's a legacy, and it's defending the family name. I think he should win.
So you're picking Dominic?
I'm going to go with the underdog on this one. I'm going to go with Dominic.
It is a street fight, so anything goes. There could be any number of, run-ins and help from Ray or Buddy Murphy. But I think I'm going to go with Ben on this one when I say Seth Rollins. It's, I don't know. It's not Dominic's time yet. Not even close. So
no, that's why I'm torn.
If Dominic wins, it will definitely be due to interference.
More than likely. But it could also keep this feud going longer if he does win.
It could go longer if he doesn't, because
revenge.
He's the good guy. He's trying to defend his family's honor, and he'll keep trying to defend his family's honor until he does.
But I mean, that seems kind of like a rut and kind of I don't know, kind of a shitty position to put Seth in.
Well,
just constantly battling it out
for Ray to take Dominic to the side and say, no, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this like a Mysterio. And maybe Ray's like, here is your mask.
Maybe. I mean, is he maskless? I mean, I know we've seen his face in the crowd and when Seth's messed with him, but...
Yeah, Dominic doesn't wear a mask. But I know I've read some reports saying that Ray's like, yeah, I hope he decides to wear a mask and becomes Prince Mysterio. So, yeah.
Could be.
We're going to go ahead and move on since we're pressed for time here. Asuka is doing a double header as she takes on both Sasha and then Bayley for their respective championships, the Raw Women's SmackDown Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship. She's going to take them both on back-to-back, not at the same time, from what I understand. So,
you're right. Huh.
Asuka, does she beat Sasha? Yes or no?
Yes.
Asuka, does she beat Bayley? Yes or no?
Yes. So
you're saying Asuka's going to walk out of SummerSlam as old two belts Asuka?
Well, as she put it, Empress of every belt.
Yeah, that's not what we call people with two belts on this show.
I happen to like her interpretation of it.
Ben agrees with you and added a note that Asuka will be the undisputed women's champion. Well, if she does pull off the twofer, it would be hard to dispute that she is not the undisputed women's champion. Which would be
I also have a feeling that we're creeping closer and closer to that feud that I've been wanting for 8 months now.
Yeah, no, we don't need a Sasha Bailey feud.
Absolutely.
No, not again.
Yes.
No. We sat through 8 months of one last year, and it was terrible.
Do you want Cuddly Bailey back? Because this is how we get Cuddly Bailey back. I will sit through a terrible feud if this role model nonsense stops, because, my God, that's a horrible role model.
Which is the ironic naming of their team.
I know.
Why do you have to bring up Cuddly Bailey? Because I like Cuddly.
Because I know how to hit you where it hurts, Josh. I ask the tough questions. You should know this. We've done this together how many times now?
I'm picking Bailey to beat Asuka and Sasha to lose. So
I got a feeling that one's going to try and interfere, and it's going to cost at least one of them the belts.
I think if Asuka wins one, she wins both. But I'm not going to pick against Bailey.
Of course you're not.
At least Nikki Cross isn't involved this time. God, that was a Sophie's choice. Anyway, up next, Braun Strowman is defending the WWE Universal Championship against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. On a scale of 1 to 10, what kind of nightmare is this going to be?
I'm going to go with a 7. I guess, is the level of nightmare a good thing or a bad thing?
It's all about perspective.
I'm still going to go with a 7.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting thing. We're going to see some weird stuff. Who do you got to win?
Braun.
Interesting. I'm going to go with The Fiend.
Well, I watched his thing from SmackDown, and he's got a whole different persona. He's scary as shit now, and he Alexa. I keep wanting to call her Lexi because I've picked it up from the other shows I've been watching, but she comes out and is like, "What is going on with you?" Blah blah blah, and she's like, "Look at me when I'm talking to you," and she smacks him, and he lifts her up straight above his head, calling for Bray. And then basically he tosses her, and it goes dark. Braun's gone. Bray's in the ring as The Fiend, and Alexa's curled up on the mat in the fetal position, and Braun's on the screen. Not like in the feuding with him and Lexi. Alexa, whatever. But so, I think that goes back to the swamp match.
We're split on this one. And Ben, I'm sorry to say it, but due to, I guess, late breaking news, your pick is, excuse me, it's very invalid. Because Ben said there would be a double count out. Can't do that with a false count anywhere.
No.
Yeah. Victim of scheduling. Poor Ben. And finally, there's Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. A no disqualification, loser leaves WWE match.
That surprised me when I looked at the card, because last I'd heard it was a hair match. And then I guess Friday night, Mandy was all, "Let's go back to the way things were, let's be friends, blah, blah, blah." And Sonya's like, "No, I'm going to end your career." I'm torn on this one because, quite honestly, I like them both.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I gotta go with Mandy. Because you can't have Mandy and Otis without Mandy.
That's true. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. I'm going to go ahead and read Ben's pick. He has Sonya Deville to win. Which is interesting. Because, well, for those of you that... oh man, I'm tired. For those of you that may be unaware, recently... very, very recently, someone was arrested at Sonya Deville's house. I believe they were charging them with stalking and attempted kidnapping, something like that.
Yeah, because, like, duct tape and zip ties, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, this person really had
some high hopes that zip ties were going to hold Sonya Deville for starters.
It was definitely a bad thing that happened.
I mean, it's a terrible thing, and I'm glad that her and her friend, or whatever, however they worded it, went to the neighbors, but quite honestly, she could have screwed him up, sorry. That was my bad. Sorry, Josh.
Anna.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, you're probably right. Sonya Deville knows how to hold her own. And, she's been publicly out for a while, so...
Yeah, I don't know what the dude was going for, but last I checked, that was not how it actually worked.
I think that's going to have a bigger role to play, and it might be one of the major reasons the stipulation was changed.
That could be.
I see. I'm going to go with you. I say Mandy takes this, and Sonya gets a bit of time off to kind of deal with what just happened.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that could have a role in it, or she could just want a break from the spotlight.
Yeah, very, very much so. To be able to cope with someone that wanted to do something, it might be good to take a step out of the spotlight for a little bit. So, yeah, that is WWE SummerSlam for 2020. I believe it's going to be in the Thunderdome. What's the Thunderdome?
Amway Center is what it said.
What's that?
What I was looking at earlier, unless it changed because Vince unveiled the Thunderdome Friday night, it still said the Amway Center. Not that I know what that is, but...
The Amway Center is the arena in Orlando. They've taken over that for their tapings now, so they could build the Thunderdome. It wouldn't
okay.
fit in the Performance Center. And for those of you that are unaware, the Thunderdome, or the Fandome, as some people have been putting it, even though that's what DC named their, I guess, online con thing from today. It is basically the ring area surrounded by large monitors with dozens of fans streaming their webcams and kind of acting as an audience. So fans will, quote unquote, be in attendance as they're watching from home, and the reactions, broadcast live on TV and pay-per-view. And when somebody originally showed this idea to me before SmackDown came about, and I saw all of those people in the background, I was like, oh, this is not going to end well. Because, yeah,
No.
We know how people are.
Yes, we do.
Especially when they're like, oh, I'm on national TV.
Yep.
I got to do something.
I haven't watched the video of it being unveiled yet on SmackDown. I watched the Braun Lexi thing first.
So that is the environment for the WWE now. For better or worse, and that's just how it's gonna happen, and we will see on a larger scale how it works. They did it on SmackDown, and I'm interested in seeing how it plays out tomorrow.
Like, do you have to pay to be on the screen, or?
I have no idea. No, I haven't a clue.
Because, like, this is all news to me. Like, basically reading the article about SmackDown was when I found out about it.
Well, if you recall, there have been rumors for maybe a couple months now that something like this might happen.
Nope, hadn't heard a thing about it, somehow.
Well, we've been talking about it right here on the Backstage Slam.
Okay, I've missed an episode here or there. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I just hope that you folks listening, wherever you are, don't miss an episode, because we are here every Saturday night, 10 p.m.-ish Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Hawaiian. We are here every Saturday to talk about pro wrestling. And, thank you for joining us. If you want to catch us live, you can do it, well, however you're doing it now, however you're listening to me, that's a good way to do it. You can go to the Simicore Studios Facebook page, give it a like, get notified when we go live for every Simicore Studios show. And I'll get to more of that in a minute. Or you can go to SimicorePods.com. Either one of those ways will get you into the live conversation in the chat room, the comment section. We'll be able to read your comments on our thoughts on what's going on with in the world of wrestling. So please feel free to join the conversation. Or if you just want to listen to the pre-recorded version, whether it's on Spotify or anywhere you get fine podcast, hit me up on Twitter at Simicore Studios, at SkitComic, and let me know what you think about something. Include the hashtag Backstage Slam so I know that it's specifically for that show. Hit up at YoBroMMO with the hashtag Backstage Slam. Get into the conversation, and where can people hit you up and give you that hashtag Backstage Slam?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all Catwoman13618.
So there you go. That's how you contact us via social media. I lost my freaking train of thought. It's been a long day for me. My kids had a hair appointment that we didn't make, and because of reasons. So
because they're girls and their hair grows and they needed it cut?
Yeah, well, we didn't make it to the appointment. One child in particular decided they needed extra time to prepare, and that extra time was not to be before the appointment. No, that extra time was afterwards.
Well, the movie I was talking about earlier was The Devil All the Time with Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård, and Sebastian Stan.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. And thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure somebody was going to be out there going, she never said the name of the movie. I do that all the time. It's like, you brought it up, now you got to say it. You have to.
Well,
it's the law.
I mentioned the name, but I thought it was Evil All the Time. It's The Devil All the Time. That was my bad.
Okay, so we got a correction going on. And just want a reminder, send all sorts of thoughts, prayers, love out towards Hawaii as Ben is sitting by his father's side, hoping that he recovers quickly and completely. If you're listening, Ben, tell your dad we're thinking of him. on all of us here in the Backstage Slam universe. See, WWE, the word universe is not yours and yours alone. Also, send a lot of love out Amber's way. You know why? Because she deserves it.
Because Amber's awesome.
Damn right, Amber's awesome. And hopefully we'll have a full 4-pack next week on episode number 207. If you want to catch more of what I do, go to semicorestudios.com or semicorepods.com. That way you can learn all about Semicore Studios podcast and listen to them. That also has all of the links to social media and any other thing you might need to get in touch with or be a part of what I do here at Semicore Studios. Also, I haven't added the link yet. I really need to for Cinema du Fromage. That's the show where a group of people get together, we watch cheesy movies, and you can catch that every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's indieradio.org, or follow indieradio.org on Facebook, or follow Semicore Studios on Facebook, because I share the link. If that makes it easier for you, by all means. Last week we watched Adventures in Babysitting, and it was a wonderful time. One of my favorite movies as a kid.
I love that movie.
It is amazing. Okay, all that being said, I think it's time to say good night. Thank you all for joining us. Anna, any final thoughts before we head on down the road?
Wish me luck with this quarantine thing.
Good luck. Which means there's only one thing left to say.
And that is...
Too sweet.